Hey, what's up? Play some music in the back.
Let me tell you a little story about Bruce Springsteen.
What's up, Carlos?
Each break of music, sold for a cent, adds up eventually. No credential, but it's so essential. Rhyme structure, coincidental with the celestial, presidential, so temporary. The evidence is stacking up, but no hope for the judiciary. Principles are tested every meeting with the pot to carry. Apostles vary, but the possibilities are scary. No hospitality for the garish. Old English so endless, lost in the sauce, no pretenses. I'm defenseless against the pressure of the universe at large. Not a charge, no offense, no golden gates unless the contentions are answered. Blaring like the speakers, letting the volume leaking out the streets. A bottle of bleach to toss across the sheets. See what it offers. Bleak coffers be emptied on top of the heat. All the dollars will bleed. Contemptuous, so temptress.
What's up, Mommy Mildred?
With no flag, just a tilted cathedral towards the tunnels. Mass grave dug past the outpost. Class struggle. Pounds the pavement, ain't no other. Blasted upward of 100,000 last suppers. Blasted the upper classes with a gash in the comfort. Exhausted gas escapes the windpipe and hides in the cupboard. A couple board employees might discover if they would in the woods. Lost linger longer than they thought they should. Bring to conclusions faster if they drink from the plaster. Ignorant disaster happens in a flash for the last imposters. Proper plots.
What's up, Zolt? That's a cool name. What's up, Finland? How y'all living over there in Finland?
Ingredients they brought up after. Quick to the eye. The instance gets high. Insistent. Why issue whole show
Inconsistent, you lie.
Wait in the coals like where I lie for you to fry. See if I can't wait you out until you die. Living like someone written on the back of the good to dance. I'm hidden, mind shaking. How it did when my blood thickens. No worries, word of mouth will carry him out the route. Not as stout, fully facing the
Who are
doubt.
my
On a
influences?
long amount of scout me out of the crowd. Run the account.
What's up,
What they
Alberto?
talking about? I'm just running out of free clout. About to steal some from the Apple store. Built out like a bull.
This song is on my channel right now. This is called Raps to Walk to the Store To. If you go to my channel and you scroll down to where it says music, and I think just scroll over once, you'll see this. This is like a collection. This, what you just heard, is my freestyle called Brick. This is my freestyle called Twitch. My influences are anything from like Jay-Z, Atmosphere, Eminem, Aesop Rock, MF Doom, fucking Griselda. There's this guy named Al Divino that's super sick. Do I have a job, Brad? Yes, I do. What time is it here? It's 5 in the morning here. There's something else. Fuck yeah, Garrett. Appreciate you, man. Much love, much love, much love. Am I having to process the fear of death? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, Kodak Blue, that was me. This is my shit right here.
But honestly worn down to the smallest form.
You should check out the newest song I dropped. I have a song on my channel called Pressure. It's the most recent song released in the music tab. Go check that shit out. But yeah, I've dropped a bunch of music this year. I've dropped so much fucking music this year. It's actually kind of insane. Most of it on YouTube. Also, all my shit is available on YouTube. And then there's some that's available on streaming. Hell yeah. What's up, Alabama? How you living? Oh yeah, Joe, I don't have any advice for you, brother. Hell yeah, Kodak. I'm glad you like it, man.
And they
shit for. I just need a minute of solace or four. Why avoid the subject? Try to
How's life in Alabama?
Original language coming back to me, and it fluctuates.
Definitely some Mac Miller influence. He wasn't necessarily like my favorite. And it took me a while. I had friends of mine that were a lot more enthusiastic about him than me, but then once he made Faces, that's where I was like, okay, I get it now. And like the production of Faces, huge influence on me. The lyricism, the imagery of that album, definitely major influence. I would say his rapping style never appealed to me the most. I actually like him more, I think, singing than rapping, but at least later in his career. But I always respected his artistry for sure. You moved from Georgia to Alabama. Do you prefer it in Alabama? Hell yeah, Oregon. Much love over there. They're trying to federalize that shit. Hit the streets if you have to. Mac Miller's jazz album, is that the one where he was singing like Larry Lovestein? Proud to be white is crazy. Yeah, I never really listened to the Larry Lovestein shit. I remember when he dropped, not Faces, the Delusional Thomas shit. I liked that. I liked the Larry Fisherman EP. That was fire. I like the Aliases, man. I was always into that. But the Larry Lovestein shit wasn't really my speed.
Me and the neighborhood kids don't mix. Avoid this, fold fist, claw your way out. If you wanna live, pausing, waiting on the pros and hoping to coexist. Noticing the notoriety is a product of
You're adjusting, house is bigger, growing especially with the space program. So what made you move to Alabama?
Might just fold if the wind blows. That's just how brittle your bones is. Barely honed in, phoning it in, and still holding the pen. Posting where I'm posting, let the cloning begin. Homing device, narrowing the search and bring it in. If the strain stretches out, your ligaments thin. Both crystalline, isn't it fine? Pulling the pine kills, looking for millions of miles before you find thrills. Find thrills in people's faculties, embrace for the kill. Limping yet letting dilapidated children clip your ankles. Brimming with anchors, ununderstandable the anchors. Placing the placards back in the backyard. Patchwork wouldn't go that far for the patch up. The nasty work that they brought about. It's all about clout, that's what they're stalling about. Going the stalling route. If I have
What do you need, Wendell?
Superman in a can, on shelves for a limited time only. Grab some while you can, and leave a tall building while living mouth to hand. Big S on the chest, not obsessed like the rest. All rest gets misplaced through this clockwork. Reverse the hands, disperse kryptonite propaganda across the land.
That was calm.
Plans of perspiration nurse the grave before the mummy's curse tried to concur with the page. Take flight and aim for the great height. Pro-capital propaganda at odds with itself, tearing apart its inner conscience while flying off the shelf. Self-help in the form of superpowered capes made of felt. Spider-Man mask hanging off the chin with mama's help. Problem child channeling self-worth into cosmic wild fantasies.
What do you need, Wendell? I'm so curious.
Family drifting further from me.
You left me in suspense.
So be it. So controlling other masters of the universe. Lex Luthor's green light and Superman franchise pieces to appease the masses. Easy access to the unhinged and uneasy madness. Leaning back like Fat Joe on nostalgia that numbs the derealization process. Ameliorate the defiance in the face of the corporate.
Your wife's an FBI agent.
Wildest yet finest moments.
Does that mean you're gonna come after me?
Hippies start the stanzas off and never finish it. I might diminish it in
Did
the
she have to
eyes of the
swear
negro
allegiance to
clinician.
Cash Patel and Jeffrey Epstein?
Century in the eyes,
Which is that
tides turning, but my concern is if I'm learning the right lessons, pin cushions in my mind, spinning and burning with bright confessions, life extensions, high propensity, sky ascendants, making the time spin in the right direction again, unflinching, wrenching the weapons and clenching the guts to conceal the pressures. Wait till the sun reveals the right sealing textures, floating like treasures in the ocean after the scrolls unleash the holy fissures. Tsunami coming soon, I'm assuming it's one way. Pressure to tune with, left in a lovely tune.
Just to the
Put a billion air
Constitution.
till the pressure consumes
I would
it.
hope.
Nothing less than a movement, putting a groove into the blue texture of time and making a new dent on the time continuum flying. Eyes pendulum back and forth all the while. All the smiles hide behind the eyes when they can, but they left behind for miles in a pen.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. I'm just listening to some music and editing this podcast. Okay, thank you, Nathan. Have a good day. This one might be kind of boring because I'm just doing the captions part of this podcast, which is just me going through and fucking finding sources for everything I'm saying. Alright. See, I wasn't even going to mute you, but now I'm going to mute you. What's the podcast topic? I'm talking more about the Riyadh Comedy Festival, and I'm talking about the shit Dave Chappelle said about it. Yeah, I'd be curious to see. Carlos, are you a watcher of the podcast? I feel like I recognize you, or did you just stumble across the live?
Just look back in time, going back in time, riding back on the iron. On the eye, I'm lying. Loaded and loading my iron and hoping my aim is entirely rhyming. Hold it in line.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought you were, Carlos. Don't worry, I'm gonna get back to you on that DM too. I figured that might be who you were. I don't really use Instagram that much, man. I leave all my DMs like forever on there. You've really been watching for a year though? That's crazy. You must have started watching when I was pretty small. What's up, Arak?
This is coming. I think for the most part, he pretty openly said most of the things. He pretty openly and per.
6 months, yeah, that makes sense. KFC manager? No, but I used to work in pizza shops. So I was manager of like pizza shops and shit. Never worked at KFC. I had some friends who did. There's no shame in being a KFC manager unless you're annoying and weird. Which is usually part of the job requirement, but not always.
I think for the most part, he pretty openly and purposefully said most of the things that he got backlash for.
Jonathan, what? You talking about me?
I think there's.
You didn't think I was white? That's hilarious. Have you been listening to the podcast for a while? He's jaking it. Carlos, do you remember what topic I was talking about that got you watching? Like what it was that you found me talking about? Was it, I'm going to guess it was probably TYT. Would that be accurate? And same question for you, Jonathan. Hell yeah, Jonathan. How long have you been listening for? Number 128. I wonder which one that was. That will be interesting to see. John Iadarola. Yep, I remember that. Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely got a lot of new people when the John Iadarola shit happened. I guess he still works over there, huh? Never trust a person with two fans? That's fire, Carlos. Yeah, I haven't been covering TYT shit. People seem to have lost interest in it. I thought about covering the her take stuff that went on with Anna Kasparian, but I decided against it. Maybe I still will at some point, but Anna's fucking unbearable, bro. Even when I completely agree with her, she's still so unbearable. Oh, I remember that one too, Jonathan. Hell yeah. That was a few months ago. Hell yeah, hell yeah. I talk about Bill Burr a little bit in this one. Not really. I'm mainly talking about Dave Chappelle. Probably should have gone harder on him. I feel like people will probably criticize me for that, but it's okay. Hell yeah, inverted banana. Hell yeah, Jonathan. That's what I try to do is speak to things that like haven't necessarily been said, because there's a lot of noise out there. So that's usually when I'll decide to go for a topic, is when I feel like I can say something about it that isn't being said so much. Just the most unbearable panel of people. Lindy Lee. Lindy Lee has got to be one of the least believable commentators I've ever heard speak. Hell yeah, Jonathan. I'm glad you're fucking with it. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You should run for president. You should run for president. Oh, he does. People are mad about the two fans right now, bro. Yeah, that Her Take show is fucking unbearable. I cannot bring myself to watch that shit. Who knows though? Maybe if Anna Kasparian is like the main, if she's the head bitch in charge there, maybe she'll turn it into a bigger show. No one really seemed to give a fuck about it when it first dropped, and they probably still don't, which is the main reason I haven't talked about it. But definitely some interesting drama with that one. What's up, Lunta? Good to see you. I'll turn this music back on. What up, Lunta? How you feeling tonight? Or this morning, I guess.
Fantastic board and more plastic wrapped around the finger of the known classic. Owned acid, prone to the known clashes of nomenclatures. Cloned assets, blown up past their accessible net worth. Not that susceptible to reason or principle. Even a few monsters left in the stable with unstable molecules. Probably got a lot of y'all confused, not enthusiastic.
Searching for Eb&Flow by Pearl Jam. Really? That's fucking awesome. I'm tapping into the Eb&Flow fucking algorithm. That's hilarious. Yeah, Carlos, 100%. That's one of the main things that goes into it. Because there's certain things that are a big deal that I'm like, if I talk about this, a lot of people will probably see it. Like the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Every time I've talked about this, I've gained new people that are listening for the first time. But then there's the question of, does it make sense to show people this? And like an example of that is Louis C.K. is one of the people who's talked about this. He went on Bill Maher and was talking about his decision to do the Riyadh thing. And I could have clipped that. I thought about clipping it and playing it, but I decided I didn't want to, because just because Louis C.K. is still on TV, just because he's back on TV doesn't mean I have to perpetuate that. At some point I might talk about him, but I was like, I don't have to. So this pod is the first one I've done, not the first one, but first one in a little bit that doesn't have any clip or anything, where I'm just talking straight through it. So yeah, and then there are some times where I'm like, there's shit I could talk about tonight, but I don't want to. I don't have enough to say, or I don't feel like there's something to say that hasn't been said. So that's usually what I think about. And yeah, with the her take shit, it's like, do I even want to do this to myself? And do I want to make, when you talk about something, you make it more culturally relevant. Because even though most people are going to click on my shit because I'm talking about something they're interested in, which is why I would talk about the Riyadh Comedy Festival thing, it's also like there's a decent amount of people who are at this point listening because they want to just hear my take and they don't necessarily know the thing I'm talking about. So by hearing me talk about something, it makes, it just makes something grow in relevance. So, that's why it's like, if there's not an interesting point to be made, then, sometimes it's not worth it. Hell yeah, Luntha's chilling before you make some beats. I don't think I've heard your beats. Do you have any uploaded, Luntha? And Big Daddy Y, yeah, the comedy festival thing might be a little overdone. It's really relevant though. It's turned out to be a lot more relevant than I would have thought. So, I'm glad that people are talking about it. Thank you, Jonathan. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to talk about topics that are relevant to a lot of people, so that I can grab some of the people. Fuck Gemini AI. Hell yeah, Luntha, can I play some beats on stream? Some of yours? Let me see if I can pull up your account. Oh yeah, you would have to give me the channel it's uploaded to. I don't see it. I don't know what that means.
Do that, but and Louis.
Control from the speakers, now it's coming over there. Why did I leave Cincy? I was there for a while, and you know, I just felt like in terms of pursuing the things I wanted in music specifically, but really just like having a career in entertainment or like art of some kind. I just wasn't really seeing the opportunity there, and most of the people that I knew that had found some kind of success, it was because they left Cincy and went somewhere else. So I had kind of had it in my mind that I wanted to go to Los Angeles,
Open.
and so an opportunity came up to go with one of my friends, and so I went, and it was pretty cool. Definitely was like a bit of a leap of faith, but you know, it's like I could always go back to Cincinnati, and I might now that the pod is doing a little better and like I have some momentum going. It's like I can do it from anywhere. So, you know, I have there's part of me that wants to like go back home and live a little bit cheaper, but at the same time, I prefer being in California, frankly. So Cincinnati's great though. There's a lot of great things about Cincinnati. It's just when you're there your whole life, you feel like you know everybody. You feel like you've gone as far as you can go there, which isn't necessarily true, but it definitely feels like that. Do I smoke Cali weed? I suppose I do. I suppose I do. Um, I don't smoke that much flower though. It's a lot of mostly weed vapes at this point. Thanks, Big Daddy. I appreciate it. I think the interesting thing about LA is that there's just more opportunity, like in anything you could possibly want to do, and that's pretty much what I came here for. And so it's like there's definitely there's nowhere better to be on top of the weed industry. Love from Carol from England. I don't get it. Are you Carol or are you Jamie?
years ended up looking a lot better, you know? And, you know, the ones who have made...
Damn, Luther dipped out when I asked if I could play some of his beats. He said, hell no. Hell no. Damn, I just heard a bird outside that sounded like somebody whistling. That freaked me out a little bit.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
Pressure get pressed, do you feel it now?
This is my new song. Everybody go check this out on my channel.
Carries less, can you hear me
My new
now?
song, Pressure.
As soon as I get blessed, time's running out. Pressure getting pressed. Pressure getting pressed. Feel the pressure getting pressed. Yeah. Pressure, you feeling now? I'm just saying, this is what I've been saying. Think of all the years these bricks been laying. Think of all the kids in schools been slaying. Now it's not cool, politicians stay lying. Running around kowtowing to a fake tyrant. Barely even trying go along when he say so. Sweet eyes dying inside just to stay close. Trying to tell you what it is, but it ain't dope. It ain't dope, but the pay's so deep. Pressure so thick that you can't go sleep. Gotta stay working 8 days per week. Still steady looking for a vacancy. I need a vacation, maybe to a beach with a nice location. Air full of peace and my mind so vacant. Still can't account for the space that it takes up. In the brain cage, wavelength weighing heavy cause I can't make my dreams up. About time I get the damn game straight for my damn
Combined with the
namesake.
topic. Oh yeah, you might be one of the people who has commented about that, like E flat. Nah, I wish I was that clever. I do kind of like that it looks like that though, and I like that if I were to just sign my name as Eb, it would be E flat. That's kind of hard. I haven't figured out how that fits into like my concept though. The concept of E flat. Like E flat is sort of like a dissonant kind of note, isn't it?
So much hanging on my head, might lose it. Either break down or break it down to a two-step. Bring the price down on the crown, can't lose that. Couple points on the downslide, and I'm in who's that? Loose lips, sing shit, but the crew's on deck. No use, no splits, just lose on the bat. Tuna guitar, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Theo Von right now. I genuinely think there might be some drug use involved, or at least, like he said, he weaned off of his meds for some reason. And so, I don't know, man. Some people are saying that they think it's because he's having like a dark night of the soul, that the guilt is starting to hit him. Alright, I'll give you that one. That's pretty funny. But, yeah, I feel like he, I don't know. I think he definitely is still going to end up standing behind a lot of the stances that he's taken, and not much is going to change, but we shall see. I haven't played this one on
When it
stream.
comes to your shower, the details are the difference. Doveman body wash with plant-based moisturizers.
Interesting.
Time is chasing, mind is racing, time is ticking. I've been stricken with an undescribable feeling. Like we passed the impassable, now the impasse is unimaginable. Ideas hatch in a vacuum, let the space around them turn the brain spotter. Train harder to make the train spotter, claim honor. Amazed at the scholarly product on the shelf. Alert the content with the self, but inventive as hell. Gotta think past the old ways and conventions of hell. Climb out, find a better path to a blessing. I don't believe in heaven, I believe in ascension. Pension waiting in the sky for the good ones, good one. Hoodlums run the shit, that's why they're staying good from. Good run, a good stay. Punch ruckus just for a good run. Loose tongue, but my grooves suck.
Did I see the news about the judge's house burned down? Yeah. Yes, I did read that. That's very, very troubling shit. there was a judge whose house burnt down, and this judge had previously ruled against the Trump administration. I think the line drawn between those two things was like maybe a little bit overstated. It wasn't something like this wasn't a judge who had just ruled against one of like Trump's immigration or like National Guard deployments. It wasn't like one of the active fights that they're most upset about, but it was definitely a judge, a Democrat judge that had ruled against the Trump administration. So like definitely was on their shit list. And it seems like somebody went and tried to burn her shit down. They said it burned down after an explosion.
He also failed.
Yeah, I mean, you could be onto something, Johnson. Faces and angry teeth, they ain't broad enough, they not waiting to see. Ain't broad enough to catch the broad end of my sleep. Tucked under the cover and drunk in sleep. It's the awe of fashions creep, actualizing deep gashes in the foundation of our sleep. Delete you, cousin. This is my shit, Leroy.
Cussing when the buses start busting, mind controlling whole portions of the population, effortless, no exceptions to the rule, they just the essence of it, less than nothing how they view us through the lens of money, assets, and net worth, tangled up in networks of best splurges, best word of advice is to let the next insurgent generation make an incursion, playing with words, blazing the new path forward and making it worse, setting the path ablaze in my wake and seems to be worth it, barely urgent a daily comment.
He also had
pay heed to the urgent, nailing a new prophet to the cross for a profit, but of course, ordered up the 4-course meal just to quench the thirst. They meant me the cursive, and that's the curse. Yeah. Lil Ron the Destroyer. Coming to New York to make it cooler. Doper, older horror. Orphans finding their way at schooler. Families finally subsisting on a neighborhood grocer. Aiming closer to an American dream crumbled and closed within the fist of the greediest monster. Leave it to the gangsters at the top of the totem pole to make it harder. Play it safe and to know your role. Knowing the dole is not sufficient for the whole. Numbing in the crowd, hoping it holds up in the ivory tower.
Sounds like it's coming of the news morning show. I don't know what that means. When you play your own music on stream, do I ever get a copyright strike? No, but yesterday I played a track that I'm featured on off of SoundCloud, and that one got me a copyright strike. My stream from last night I think it got removed because of a song that I was on with my friend that's posted on SoundCloud. I think it happened because he distributed it to all platforms through SoundCloud, which you can do now, but for some reason they copyright struck me, even though the version that's on streaming platforms is fucked up. I played the correct version, but the correct SoundCloud version, which only is uploaded to SoundCloud, got me a copyright strike. So that's the only time that's happened so far.
Dreams with it if I should. Backed out to the place I'm back from. Had one look into the future, now I'm that numb. Whack dumb, deaf and blind of the gods and masters. Ask them, hack them in pieces and still they're back somehow. Multiple heads spring out like fighting a hydra. Hibernating but the battle's won. Won't comply but the peace of my mind can be achieved. And I ain't the only one. Even if I gotta die on this hill, just hold me down. My lungs,
no, just go to my channel, Leroy. All my music is there.
Mind racing, multiple questions. questions. When the quest done, when a glimmer of hope rippling through a generation, looking to cope, gon' turn to a flame or flame out and be done. Call it a dungeon, what's done is done. The plumbing and the charts are not coherent. The graphs are not as clear as the evidence of the eyes and ears. Gold-plated, old age, front-facing, close cases on edge the way I'm supposed to be.
I still don't know what you meant by it. Sounds like it's coming off the. Sounds like it's coming of the news morning show.
I don't know
what that means.
Caught off guard, it's a lot to follow the braille. Modern stale conversation is not the ale. Promise pale horses when the wind is blowing the sail. No hinges on the gears turning, they just burning at will. Oil needs the squeaky wheel, or otherwise it'll be spoiled swill. More for real than the goiters forming in flesh. More sincere than the pictures on the wall in your foyer hall. Morning draws, pours honey onto the porch and stalls. Warmer bras turning into connections of the heart. Less than effortless art sprinkles the essence in the dirt. Presently unnerved, but the presence of the disturbed is ever present. Nevertheless, there's never a word, never a world without the form of clever I avoid. Peddled and formed, muddled and nestled in the horn. Uncompetitive norn, uncomfortable but the normie. Played along to get along with goblins on the Gorney. Became something that's alien like the inside of Sigourney. I've been contrived to air again, there's something in the oxygen. The pipes are working poorly, this greenhouse gas ain't for me. That's a new attorney for the bloodless war on my integrity. Relentless, yet they let the beast consume the breath of me. A lesson me might teach a lesson, I just reach for a
Yeah, I think about the direction of the music industry all the time. I think about it less now that my own project has more momentum. When I was trying to get into songwriting, for a while, I was like more focused on trying to do songwriting as a job when I moved out to LA because it was something I could do. I wanted to experiment with other genres, and I thought it could be a way that I could like work professionally and still just do whatever I want creatively. And that stressed me out a lot more thinking about the industry because it's hard to get in as a songwriter anyway, and also there's just a lot of uncertainty everywhere. But certainly with something like that, where it's like a sort of a nameless job or a faceless job would be a better way to put it. That's the kind of shit that like nobody knows the future of that when it comes to AI and stuff. And even just copyright, like how copyright law works. What's up, Mr. Possessive? So that stressed me out a lot. But now that my own project is working better, I more feel like it's just a very high priority to find, supporters that are interested in what I do and just keep feeding that audience. Because I think the people who are doing that are winning and probably will keep winning. But I do think it's harder and harder to find places to work in the industry, which Carlos is why it's cool that you have a job, in like you actually have a job as a working musician. That's fire. Are you planning to keep doing that? I know you said that your contract is over in like a year. Are you planning on continuing to do that or re-sign, or did you want to go in a different direction? We were talking. He asked me about the music industry. Oh, you asked me about mainstream music too. I'll get back to that. Yeah, chatting about that. I'm also just editing the podcast. I'm gonna drop a podcast. I don't know, probably in the next hour or two at some point. But yeah, so we just chilling. Yeah, music. The 9 to 5 is that's the dream. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I think the method right now is to find your own niche, find a way that you can deliver a product consistently to people that are looking for specifically that product, and something that not only can they only get it from you, but they would only want to get it from you. They want to hear your perspective. They want to hear what you offer. And that's why I'm very grateful that I'm starting to build a platform in that way, because I think that that's like the key to having a career. But I think that there will still be jobs, and you'll still be able to like get by doing different things. I don't know. I do think there will be some rearrangements that happen within the music industry. Yeah. Yeah, being able to do more skills. I definitely excelled a lot in music when the more things I learned to do for myself, like making my own visuals, um, making my own production, doing my own mixing. Some of these things I'm not even necessarily the best at, but like being able to do it myself makes it so that I can just keep moving. I don't have to wait on anybody, and that's huge. Eh, I don't know that AI can do much of anything particularly well. It can do a lot of things, but there's flaws in all of it. Unless I win another position, you want to be a conductor. How difficult would it be for you to go in that direction? Yeah, totally. You have control. You can move faster. Um, yeah, I think that's the answer. It's not really necessarily my favorite thing. I would rather have more of a communal thing, like more of a team, like an equitable sort of distribution so that everybody benefits. But it feels like now you have to move really fast. In order to get a foothold, you got to move really fucking fast. So that's why it's better to be able to do more things by yourself. But also, Carlos, you said, do I think there's good mainstream music? I do. I think there is a lot of good mainstream music. There's some that's whack, but like getting into songwriting helped me appreciate a lot of aspects of pop music that I was not appreciating as much before, coming from a strictly hip hop perspective. And, you know, like, right, a lot of writers of pop songs that never really get their recognition, they pour their heart into that shit. You know what I mean? And it's like they're well written songs. Often they're well written songs. Sometimes they're not. Yeah, independence is the way to go in the music industry. I had a meeting with a guy, one of the guys who runs TDE, the label TDE. Pretty early on when I came out here to LA, I landed in a room talking to that guy, which was pretty crazy. And that was some of the advice that he gave me that was disappointing at the time, but he said that I should go not just independent, like an independent label, but like fully independent, like independent of a label. And I think he was probably right about that. And he probably was saying that because of the nature of my content. I was showing him. I remember I showed him the song where I diss Ben Shapiro, and he definitely. I think he was saying that like I would just have to have I would have less restrictions on what I could say if I went in that direction. But ironically, I feel like now that I'm building more of an audience for myself, I feel like a guy like that would be more interested in what I'm doing. I don't know that. I don't know, Vishal. It was yeah. Go check out that song. It was called "The Dog and Pony Show." If you haven't heard it, I had wanted to diss him for a long time when I finally wrote that verse. Can I sing something? No, I'm good. Yes, I'm a fan of Cool Keith. I'm not like the most well studied fan of his, but I had a friend named Jonah who ran a group called Weird Rap. I think he changed it to Extraordinary Rap. But Cool Keith was like one of the major fixed points of that group. He was probably the biggest Cool Keith fan that I know. I grew up on a lot of underground hip hop, stuff like Rhyme Sayers. I remember being really into Mobb Deep and Jay Z. I love New York hip hop. Um, Definitely Eminem and people like Atmosphere and Slug, Aesop Rock, Idea. Eyedea, also from Rhymesayers, he was probably my main inspiration to start rapping. Yeah, Slug and Ant. Ant, the producer Ant is the reason why I don't go by the name Ant, because my name is Anthony, and people definitely call me Ant. That's my favorite nickname. I go by Ant, not Tony, and so part of me wanted that to be my rap name, but out of respect for the legend, I decided not to. Sage Francis is cool. Sage Francis was never my like top dude. Looney's is also fire, hell yeah. MF Doom for sure, bear witness. Aesop's one of my favorites, definitely. I love that song by Sage Francis where he's talking about the sun fighting the moon. That shit is crazy.
Out more of a
Where did Eb originate the name? Basically, it was like the idea of ebb and flow. Because what I liked about idea and abilities was that it's spelled the same way. It's like idea and sign abilities, and it's a rapper and a producer. And so I like the idea of having a name like that, but it's just one guy. And that was also kind of inspired by Calvin and Hobbes, where you have the main character and then the sort of imaginary friend. And so that's kind of the concept, is like, what if you had one rapper whose just name was Eb and Flow? And Flow is kind of more of like an ethereal concept, or sometimes it's like he's like my interdimensional buddy, you know what I mean, that like guides me through trials and tribulations, not literally, but more so the character, you know what I mean. So that's the vision behind the name Eb and Flow, and it's taken me a lot of time to start articulating that, but I definitely plan to do different types of animations and stuff like that fleshes out the idea of those characters. Because I would say Calvin and Hobbes and Idea and Abilities is probably like my two top inspirations ever. Superman to Clark Kent, yeah, kinda. But it's like if Superman was a separate guy who like just showed up sometimes and was like, "We gotta go," and then you leave and the building explodes, and you're like, "How did you know the building was gonna explode?" But also Flo, I've played around with him being like a non-verbal character. I've also played around with the idea of him being sort of like some kind of like eldritch horror or of some kind, you know, he's like otherworldly. So, but yeah, the idea is that it's kind of just like the ethereal concept of Flow, and then Eb is just a guy.
No ligaments turn or twitch, so considerate, no one flinched. Hope this is an endless score. I won't quit till they get the work they've been pressing for and more. I ain't to blame for the economy.
This is one of my favorite little freestyles. I love this. It just sounds good.
Waiting for the steep shift, ease into it, be sifted like water on the easel with the colors dropping. No one can see you when you're waiting underneath the cryptic message, waiting in the centuries to emerge, feeling the glitch in the linguistics. Simplistic ain't the method, neither is the realistic. Be so kismet of the three amendments to the new commandments, loosen the handprints for a few demands, opening up the pool of not loose lucid, easy to fool, thought-inducing, claustrophobic, still stuck, what's the damage to the ducts? Can't tape, air escapes, dare to hang the drapes, you can't bend up. Hairpin claimed by the house, but it's clamming up. I wouldn't take the dividend, they can't hand me enough. All mechanical, no brakes.
No, this isn't an off the top freestyle, but it's like free verse. Like I was just writing. There's not a lot of like conceptual drive to it.
Underdeveloped like the sun left you to become stale. Wholesale on the wind like I caught me a cumulo. Nimble with the new stroke, color close to the cuticle. No pen stroke has the strength to reiterate the ill quote. Pill swallow difficult, but lifted the pressure up with a clinch. All hints otherwise fall apart in just a pinch. All starts lining up with other side, running for cover for the end of supper. Wanna wine, want some wine, wanna complain, but it's all fine.
This is also one of my favorite of those little free verse things.
Yeah. That double XL shit been played out. Since triple X temptation, no patience, but a basic skill. Clickbait, if you know the
Oh, it
drill,
is.
same pinup
I kind of wish
in the frame just for
I
me.
kind of wish it
Same,
connected
get
a
your
little
money, get
better
your bag. I
with
ain't mad at a
people
young rapper.
because
Saying
it's
shit,
honestly
but
my
it's
favorite way to
up
rap.
fast.
It's so
The
fun.
audience wants optimal algorithms and optimized fonts. Optometrists, how to tricks that a visual make the list. Ain't shit.
Just like write a bunch of shit without thinking too much about the flow, and then just fucking throw it at a beat and see how it sounds. My best verse ever? Fuck, man, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. This right here is one of my best verses recently, and this one is more conceptually targeted. Like everything I said here, I meant to say.
Kids sticking up in the frame, just
Yeah, I really want to get that style of rapping out there so that I can just like keep doing it and keep like, you know, getting it off to people because it is genuinely so fun. That shit is fire. I could play that. I don't know if that's my best verse though. Might be some of the catchiest shit I've done recently.
yeah. That double XL shit been played out.
Yeah,
Since
totally.
triple X temptation, no patience, but a basic skill. Clickbait, if you know the drill. Insane pinup kids sticking up in the frame just for a minute of fame. Get your money, get your bag. I ain't mad at a young rapper. Ain't saying shit, but it's up faster. Ain't your fault what the audience wants. Optimal algorithms and optimized fonts. Optometrists, how to tricks that a visual make the list anxious. No way to reappropriate these angers. This game been twisted, it all runs off attention. That's not new, it only works when people ride away to catch the metrics. Yet less substance and a punch each and every minute left. No real intent just to get rich and then dip. Might leave prints at the scene too lazy to be prepared.
Yeah, I'll have to play that one again. Have I ever rapped on a drill beat? Not really. This might be the closest. I feel like I've rapped on stuff like that before. I'd have to look a little bit.
Maybe that was true a few years back before COVID. For the gardens of the internet answered back. Streaming still dominates, but the grassroots are up to bat. So much hip hop in the underground is turning the mainstream sound backwards. No point trying to litigate who's real and who aims to delineate. Just let the work speak for itself. Reach the people how you reach yourself. Fuck what they all say. Dave Blunt's writing how hit the songs for Kanye, and I'm supposed to be mad at some white boy I never would have even seen except for the people. Love a spectacle. Next thing you know, bringing the envoy. The shit is anthrax in the envelope, but I ain't mad at you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just know about me.
I think those demos and stuff is some of my favorite stuff to listen to. I guess I try not to listen to leaks, just because, like, especially at this point, you don't even know what's real. Hell yeah, yeah. If you make some beats with me in mind, I'll definitely try them, Linta. What did you say? Yeah, demos, and like that's what made me want to do songwriting. Is hearing demos of songs that went on to be like big radio, well-produced songs, but then you hear the demo version and it's just like a person playing piano and a person singing, and that's like, I don't know, that just changed the way I look at music, you know, because it makes you realize that even the big, huge pop songs are, a lot of them start as just like a very raw idea that like really comes from the heart. And a lot of the stuff I release on my page, I want it to feel like that. I want it to feel raw, like it's just like I'm just putting my ideas out there. Old song from 2010. Yeah, and plus, once time passes, then the smoke clears a little bit, and it becomes a little bit more obvious, like uh, where different songs came from, if it was real, if it was made during a certain period, or if somebody else put it together or whatever. So yeah, I think that's justifiable, and yeah, it's demystifying, and it makes it. There's just something I just connect more naturally with music that feels like you can almost hear it being recorded. You know what I mean? Like you hear the tape deck, you hear the fucking sounds of the room. I really connect with that. It's why a lot of times I don't take that stuff out of my own music because it's like I feel like it pulls you into the room with the person who's making it. Yeah, if I did that, it would only be as some kind of plot to infiltrate. But I don't think I would fly because I already dissed Tom McDonald years ago. Yeah, studio sessions are sick. They can be very boring, but that's part of it. Overarching idea that I want people to get from my music? No, because when it comes to the art, that's a lot more like I don't know. It's everything. It's the story of my life. It's my daily thoughts mixed with my like more broad thoughts. So there's like a general left wing ethic in there and anti-authoritarianism. I think anti-fascism is like probably my foremost uh, belief system more so than anything like that particular about like this is my ideal political worldview. Although I obviously have plenty of thoughts about that. Um, but yeah, more so just like resistance against fascism and tyranny would be that's energetically that's what I want people to receive from what I do is like hope for the future, interesting ideas about how you can use your own talents. I want to create new models that people can use to make money and make a living and survive and make the art they want to make. Like that would be what I would want more so than any like message. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I don't think that grift is really for me. Thank you, Mr. Possessive. Eating ice while recording pregnant. Oh wow. Eating ice while recording pregnant? Why was she eating ice? I don't know if I've heard that trick. Or she was eating ice because she's pregnant. Can I sing? No, not really, but I do have some songs where I sing. I played this yesterday. Were you here when I played this? This is probably the singiest shit that I do, that I have done. This is one of the best songs I've written that's not like a rap song.
It's your fault my mind is racing. I think I need a little space again. The synchronicity is begging. I need to find my own pace again. And not for nothing you were saying. My soul might need a little breaking in. Stay in my room with no exceptions. You
Interesting.
still got me out of breath.
I do love footage of artists in the studio.
Just breathe
Love that.
in. Remind myself to breathe in again.
No, I'm from Cincinnati.
Just breathe in and synchronizing with the space within. I'm out of step with my intentions. The metronome is barely kicking in. I gotta rhyme for every sentence, but barely found a way to work them in.
Damn it.
You got me thinking about my presence and my effect on every second. I can't deny you leave impressions, cause I still think of you when lights are dim. Remind myself to breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Just breathe in and synchronizing with the space within. Just breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Just breathe in.
I do love this song. I really do love that song. Amira wants me to drop it. I can't really see myself releasing that, but she might be right. I might have to drop that. What's up, Chris? How you doing?
show.
Hell yeah, Carlos. Check it out. It'll be up in, I'll call it like an hour. I'll aim to get it out by 7, maybe earlier. Probably more like, probably 7 or 7:30. At least by my time. Yeah, you're probably right. I do think people would respond to that song. But it's more so like, the thing is, like, at my stage of being an artist, it's like any song I drop could be the song that blows up. And if a song blows up, then that's going to be the sound that defines me. And it doesn't mean I have to keep doing that, but if, like, say that song goes super fucking viral and I have an opportunity to keep going in that direction, like, I definitely could. It's not really the type of music I want to make all the time. But if I drop some, like, hip hop shit after that, like shit that sounds like my other stuff after that, people will be like, what is this? You know what I mean? It's like one of the things it's one of the downfalls of the music industry currently, is that, like, you can blow the fuck up with one random song, but then, like, if you're not careful, that will be all people want from you, and that can be difficult to navigate around. So that's why, but I think I also just, like, overthink stuff like that. Because it's like, it doesn't matter. Just fucking drop everything. Who cares? And yeah, like you said, it's a good song. So, like, I should put it out. The people need it. Here, I'll play you another version. So this is my friend Tisa, who recorded a version of that. I wrote that song with my friend Chris, and then I got Tisa to do her version with her vocals. So we're thinking of, this was what was planning to be released. I'm not sure exactly what her plan is at the moment.
It's your fault my mind is racing. I think I need a little space again. Synchronicity is begging. I need to find my own pace again. And not for nothing you were saying. My soul might need a little breaking in. Stay in my role with no exceptions. You still got me out of breath again. So breathe in.
Yeah, she's a great singer. Gives you insight in where to innovate and experiment. Yeah, you're definitely right about that, Chris. And it's like, it's always a good thing. Like, if you can drop a song and it goes viral, then fucking do it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't not.
Got a right for every sentence, but barely found a way to work them in. You got me thinking about my presence and my effect on every second. I can't deny you leave impressions, 'cause I still think of you when lights are dim. Remind myself to breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Breathe in. Synchronizing with the space within. Breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Breathe in. Synchronizing with the
I will
space
say that
within.
about that song is that, like, topically, it is a song. It's kind of like about meditation, like breathe in, synchronizing with the space within. So, like, that's some flebbed out shit. That's some shit I would talk about in daily life. So it makes sense to make a song about it. Song Kate Nash. No, I don't know that one. That was my friend Tisa singing a song that I wrote, Eagle Fell. How you doing this morning? Adding a rap verse? Now you're talking. I actually had not thought of that, but that would be good because that would make it.
This is interesting.
That would make it like a 3-verse song. Definitely is a little short, so it would give it like a little. You could almost use it as a bridge or something. It's a good idea. If I do drop it, I probably will. I probably will drop a verse on it. Yeah, definitely. You know, what's interesting is that, like, I'm definitely on the spiritual tip a little bit, the vibes tip a little bit, but it's more so because I was into a lot of that stuff when I was younger, like stuff about meditation, stuff about manifestation and energy, and I never got super deep into, like, crystals and that sort of thing, but you know, just like that idea of manifestation and different ways of like kind of controlling the like energy of your mind a little bit. Like I read about a lot of stuff like that when I was pretty young and absorbed it. And I think over the years I sorted through the bullshit a little bit too, because it's a lot of bullshit. But then when you come out of the other side, it's like when you first start and you're really excited about it and you're like, oh wow, I can spiritually manifest my own reality, and nobody sees anything in their reality that they didn't manifest on a deeper level. And like then you experience life a little bit and you realize that not everything, you can't blame yourself for everything that you experience in life. That's insane. That's not how life works. But then once you come out on the other side of that, you have some like real gems from that way of thinking, and you have a more purposeful, mindful way of thinking if you don't, you know, take all of that stuff for granted without a critical eye. RZA, yes, a lot of rappers are. That's probably how I ended up going down that path. Is like a lot of rappers were into that shit and like the manifestation and stuff, and that idea of like, you know, being able to manifest the reality of the life you want is like powerful stuff, you know. It is rare to hear R&B with a political slant. It's more commonly about the relationships human beings have with friends, family, and their community. Sounds like spiritual maturity. Yeah, that's how I would think of it. It's like you kind of gotta go through that part. You know what I mean? Like you take certain things in, but then you realize that like life is not life is not so predictable. It's not easy to boil down into like one worldview or another, and you kind of just gotta roll with it and like think as purposefully as you can. But yeah, I agree with you, Chris. That's something that I want to explore more. Is like, I feel that way about a lot of music. It feels like most of the music that connects is like music about me and you, and here's how I feel about you, and I'm talking to you, and you're talking to me. And especially like in the songwriting world, that's the formula for like most songs. Not all of them, probably like 70 to 80%, because that's what people connect with the most. And that's the thing that I'm most interested in trying to break apart a little bit, is like the things that people sing about. Seems like back in the 20th century, there were more songs that were more popular that weren't just about love and romance, but like political stuff and just interesting song ideas. Yeah, I feel you, Mr. Possessive. And what I learned is that it's just exhausting when you look at everything as like I'm manifesting the world as it is. It's this it becomes this thing where you beat yourself up because you're not immediately manifesting the life you want, and everything that bad that happens to you, it's like you deserve it or something you did. This is teaching me something, and sometimes that's true, but it's also like, you know, it just doesn't make sense to think of life that way. And I think probably that's why I ended up drifting towards leftism, is having that sense of like material reality. Like just because you believe something doesn't make it true. Just because you want to believe in a positive reality, it doesn't mean that those are the conditions that you're in, and you've got to be honest about the conditions you're in. And like, you know, you can't manifest your way out of class struggle, although it's certainly a part of it. Chaos with short moments of clarity and peace. Yeah, bear witness, I guess you're probably right. And that's like, that scales too. So it's like there might be thousands of years of chaos and then like a couple hundred years of peace or something. Yeah, you can always deal with it in a different way. And sometimes things happen to you that have nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Like it just comes with the realization that like the world is bigger than you. And I think solipsism is the main thing that I came to reject. This idea that it all emanates from inside your mind. I think there's some truth to that, but there's also the reality that there's billions of other people, and everybody has their own intentions and is doing different things that conflict with each other. And so to think that it's all just about what you manifest, not only is it narcissistic, but it's just not going to get you anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you're just going to end up like getting squashed by life because you don't have your head in the game. Yeah, main character energy for sure.
Tip.
Yeah, you don't control everything, but you can control you, and you can control a lot by controlling yourself. Like, I've become a big believer in the idea that, like, if you trust your ideas and you really put the work in, then you can have a huge impact. But you have to engage with reality. If I have a great idea and I think it's a world-changing idea, I can't just manifest it into the hearts and minds of the whole world. I have to do the work, you know what I mean? And like, as a rapper, I've really had to learn that like it's work. You got to get out there. You got to physically put your work in front of people for them to see it. And if you do that, then you can start to manifest like what you want to manifest. But allergies. Interesting. I never considered it allergies. Sometimes forget that I have free will, which sounds insane. It's get caught up in obligation. That's interesting, Mr. Possessive. I think I know what you mean. Like you kind of get caught in routines or like the things you feel like you have to do that you forget that like it also is a choice that you can make and that you don't have to do things you don't want to do. I don't meditate as much as I should. I guess I get a lot of. I meditate in different ways. You know, I've always kind of believed in the practice of like active meditation, like trying to be in a meditative mindset throughout the day. So I guess I try to practice that, but I think that's also a bit of a cop out. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do it for real. But yeah, allergies. I don't know if it's allergies. I do have allergies, but I mean, I don't feel allergic right now. I think my sleep schedule's just fucked. Exactly, Wyatt. Me too, honestly.
Yeah, ice raids in the summer, eyes glaze, unbecoming of the tender of the bars. Take sharp, couple inches off the top. No hedging, no bets, won't stop unless the fledgling careers.
Yeah, Mr. Possessive, I found myself in that type of vibe as well. Or like, I'm the type of person that'll take sometimes it takes me a little too long to like call it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in a certain situation, like I might not be as quick to make that decision of like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Sometimes it takes me a little bit too long to work up to that. Focus on one project a day. Like what type of projects? Don't dox me. I kind of do the same thing. I kind of work on different bits and pieces per day. Like I'll work on a little visual, I'll write something or record something, and then I'll also like do a podcast. That's usually what I'm trying to do on a daily basis. I feel that. What topics? You mean the podcast? I'm doing a podcast right now talking about the Riyadh Comedy Festival and Dave Chappelle's statements about that. But I just talk about like left-wing politics and stuff.
Which so far get
Interesting. You know, I had a friend who started doing that, who started doing the same thing, like just tinkering. It was more like electronics, like um, microwaves and like radios and stuff. And he was telling me, like, yeah, I'm just getting into fixing that and I might try to get some certification. And he was just fucking around with it. And then now he works in Chicago as like, he's like an engineer of I forget what the exact title is, but like he's got like a serious job in that field. And he was a grown ass man when he started doing that. Like he just started doing it as a hobby. He was also a musician and still is. But yeah, he started doing that as a hobby, and then now it's like his full-time gig. He probably makes fucking crazy money. Ponytail's pulling my hairline. So fix your carpet cleaners and vacuum cleaners. So did you have, don't dox me, did you have a sense of how to do stuff like that before, or did you like totally learn from scratch?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat in the streets, Nazis at large, but I compete. Got the bars and the concrete on my side, on the side, but the lie unfolds. Weakness belies the white pride, fear and state of mind that may shift. Toward the clearing, ever nearing, edge of the cliff, step up the steering, evidence based, nonsense peppers to play. I never stay till the morning, warrant the state of employment. Enjoyment slips through the foyer, more than buoyant, more of a coolant, immortal student, brutish ship I must.
That's funny. My landlord has a couple Roomba robots that he likes to use. Tearing shit apart for myself comes natural. I don't quite get what you're saying, Wyatt. Oh, you're talking about electronics and stuff? Well, tearing shit apart is one thing. Putting it back together is another.
It's just a function of the brawling, stuck in the scrolling, sucked in while the under is towing, humble is knowing, the ebb and the flowing, it's something that ones like us are not supposed to be knowing, stunning control.
Build a radio? I have no idea what, even the beginning of what goes into that. Text of code. Japan says when it rains, rather than panic, run and hide. Temper oneself, for either way you will get wet. But to face our fate with acceptance, honor, or oneself. Yeah, and there's a quote that gets attributed to Bob Marley. I don't know if he really said it, but he said when it rains, there's some who get wet and there's some who feel. Others. What did he say? I guess others feel the rain. Or no, he says some feel the rain, others just get wet. That's the quote. I like that. 3 vacuum cleaners cost Brandon. Fix 3 for the price of 1. Hell yeah, don't dox me. That's sick. I respect the fuck out of that. I think that's also going to be super crucial going forward. Like having those skills to be able to fix stuff and like work with your hands is like crucial. Microcontrollers, so you can tear shit apart and reprogram it to do other stuff. Oh, that's cool. Like microcontrollers for what? What is a microcontroller? Yeah, honestly, Bob Marley is probably my favorite songwriter of all time. Some of his old music from before he left Jamaica is like just some of the most beautiful shit ever. And no, people don't really know about it. Like the song "Stand Alone" by Bob Marley. The writing process. Am I disciplined to do it every day? Do I have to be in a certain mood? I'm trying to write every day this side. I am fairly disciplined about it. I don't necessarily do it every day. But I do it as often as possible, and there's times where I'm writing every day. It does kind of come down to being in a certain mood. It just depends. The thing I like about the podcast is that there's a reason for me to do it every day, if not every day, every other day or whatever. So that really helps me, and I would like for that to be the case with music. Like if I could drop a song every day and people would respond and it would like get some listenership, um, then I would totally do that. I would just make a song and drop it every day. And I tried that for a while, but it didn't quite pick up momentum the same way the pod did. And so, you know, I think challenging yourself to write every day is a good idea. If you're trying to get into writing, um, definitely it's a good idea to try to do it every day because you want that muscle to be able to work. You don't want it to be something where it's like only when you're in the right state of mind can you get yourself to write, even though it can be like that sometimes. You want it to be something that you always can do. And like, yeah, you might only do your best work when you're like inspired, and sometimes it might feel a little bit forced, but it's okay. Just do it, even if it feels like it's forced. Just do it anyway because you're working the muscle. And even if what you write in that moment isn't good, it's going to make you better at writing the next time. And you never know. Some of the stuff that you do when you're just bullshitting, like, it really can be some of your best work, or at least it can be something that you go back to and turn into something new, which happens with me all the time. I do half-assed ideas all the time, and like some of them I go back to, some of them I completely forget about. But really, fixing stuff yourself is the ethic that has kept the Philippines from falling apart. Never knew how to fix things. Very tiny computers that are very basic but have programmable memory. Oh, that's interesting. Wyatt. Ziggy Marley. I've never really listened to Ziggy Marley. I'm pushing it up slowly, Mr. Possessive. It'll get there. It's like that's how it's been with the music on YouTube, is that like it doesn't push it out to as many people. But I've found some methods, both by promoting it through this stream and also putting it at the top of my page, that kind of like slowly creeps the views up. So if I do that consistently with songs and try to like push them all up past 1,000 at least, I feel like that'll start getting me into the algorithm a little bit more. So that is a decent metric, or at least that's the method I'm trying at the moment. And yeah, everybody on the stream, go listen to Pressure, my latest song that I just dropped. Dropped a visualizer for it on my channel. Song's coming out this Friday on all streaming platforms. Yeah, it's definitely good to write every day, even if you feel like it's not getting you anywhere. It definitely is. Hell yeah, Corporal. I'm glad you found me too. That's cool. Don't dox me. What was the last comment? Complex dehumidifier. Is that the one you're talking about? Thank you. Don't dox me. I appreciate it. Poor cannot afford fast-paced consumerism. I just read the book Degrowth. I guess I'm just finishing it. And that's about that. It's about getting rid of like planned obsolescence and all kinds of things. Have you ever heard that book? Has anybody in this chat listened to that or ever read that book? Pale Ronan. Degrowth. It's very It's very controversial book. It's called Less is More, is what it's called. What young up and coming rapper do I think you should keep an eye on? Probably Red Veil. There's a few. There's a ton, honestly. Yeah, I feel like Degrowth was a little bit more. It was more popular conversation a few years ago, but it's a good book. It gets a little. He's losing me a little bit at the end because he's talking about like going back to being more like spiritually in touch with nature and how like it was a specific ideological change to go from viewing humans to it was like a leap to view humans as separate from nature, and that all of our society is built off that, which I'm down with. But then he also talks about, like, he gets into talking about shamans and how shamans were like a bridge to the spiritual world and also communicating with nature through dreams, and like that is like an example of how you could organize society that way. And I don't know, that's like, I just don't really like buy that. He's a little uncritical about that, which is odd because he makes many scientific arguments. This is written by Jason Hickel. He makes scientific arguments all throughout the book, but then towards the end, in trying to explain this connection with nature, he just kind of casually cites this thing about shamans. And I'm like, that's cool. Shamans are cool, but if you're gonna put that in your book, I feel like you should be critical about it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just. I don't take it for granted as a reader that that's like a legitimate, way to organize society, or a legitimate relationship that exists between that person and the spiritual world. I mean, I think there's probably some truth to that, but there's no proof of it. That emerged after the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, there's something very interesting about it, and there's many great ideas in the book. Like, I really like a lot of the ideas, but I can see how it maybe didn't pick up that much steam because of stuff like that just makes it a little bit easy to dismiss. They meant loses. I can see how he loses you in the end. Even if it's largely beneficial. And I think, honestly, a significant portion of people are down for something like that. It's more so, I don't see how you're making an argument that meaningfully factors into like structural society. If you're going to argue for that, you're going to have to make a secular argument about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to argue how practically shamans or some version of that is like able to guide us to the spirit world, or even this idea of like, through, he specifically says in certain cultures that dreams are the ways that humans connect with nature and like communicate with nature. And that's kind of just said in passing, and I like that idea, but it reminds me of something I would have read in like a spiritual woo-woo book back in the day, not something that is designed to be like a serious political argument. Oh yeah, if you write a song a day, like, your songwriting will be incredible. And most people who are great songwriters say they've written thousands of songs that are no good. But like, it's really just about working the muscle. Like, if it's something that you do often, you'll find yourself doing it on pretty high levels, like naturally, without thinking it. Like, once you build up that level of skill, that's when you'll start doing stuff and people will be like, wow, it's so detailed and so interesting how you did this. And you'll be like, I didn't even mean to do that. I didn't know I was doing that. I was just, I thought it was kind of regular. And that's what happens when you put the time in. World, and if everyone does that, we'd be better off as a society. I love the idea of like having nature more incorporated in our lives in that way. I just don't think it was a strong argument. He's essentially trying to make the argument that we need to move away from a society that's based on capital growth, which I think is a great argument to make. But you are up against the most powerful forces in the world, not to mention a lot of people that are very much, it's like you just have to make an incredibly strong argument. I feel like you can't get loose about the details on something like that. But it also may be that I think he was aiming for like sort of a new age audience. The book is kind of marketed like a self-help book almost. So I have it right next to me. Like the way it's marketed is like you could almost pick this up uh thinking this is like some kind of self-help thing, or it might be low-key made for the spirituality moms. So like that's cool. I think that's a great marketing tactic. But I think a lot of serious people who are reading the book from a critical perspective probably got to that point and were like, that just ruins the critical argument of this book. Some songwriting's best hits are when they're just playing around with music. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, spirituality moms is a powerful demographic, Mr. Possessive. But yeah, that's what it is. And like you basically, I think it's less about being the most skilled or talented person in the world, and it's more so about just being so in the habit of doing whatever the thing that you like doing, that like it yeah, eventually you're going to do great work. Eventually you're going to build an audience. Eventually you're going to have a hit, because it's like you're just engaging with the craft so much, and you're not just doing it yourself. You're putting it out there. You're showing it to people. You're performing. Like if you just get yourself in the habit of doing that, it's inevitable that good things will happen and you'll get better at doing it. Maybe she says that girlfriend is about anything and she was just being a brat having fun, and look at the hit it's become. Totally. You know what's crazy? In LA there's this showcase called Jesse and Friends, where they have songwriters of like really famous songs that come and perform, because a lot of the songwriters don't perform at least those songs very often, and they don't really perform much at all because that's not really what they do. And one of the performers there was, I forget her name, but she was the songwriter of Skater Boy and Complicated with Avril Lavigne. So I got to watch her perform that in like a small bar in Los Angeles. It was crazy. Yeah, I think it is Lauren Christie. Wait. Yeah, Lauren Christie. Yep. Yeah, she's older now, but I got to see her perform. It was really cool. Yeah, she performed Skater Boy and Complicated. Yeah, literally. Like that's like as fucking in the industry as you can be. And that's the crazy thing. Songwriting is honestly the perfect example of what we were just talking about. Because you have a lot of people like that like some of them, they wrote songs that blew up and they kind of just never stopped floating in the industry, and they had more hits or they did this or that. Others, like maybe they had a couple hits and then they sort of drifted into obscurity, or they stopped writing, or maybe they got enough money they didn't need to. Maybe the opposite. Maybe they were like, there's no money in this, and so they stopped. But really, it just comes down to like the people that are most successful are the people that just don't stop writing and just like take any opportunity to be in the studio. Write. They write on their own. They write with other people, and it's like if you do that, then you're just maximizing your chances that eventually you'll do something that connects with a lot of people. And then every time you have one, if you have one hit, it might be really hard to get the next one, but it's still more likely that you're going to get another hit if you've already had one. So it's like you just keep going. Chris Stapleton wrote hit songs for Adele. I wonder if he's ever performed there. I don't think so. No, I don't know him. That's cool though. One thing that sucks about the industry is like a lot of times when these artists are asked about the songs and like, what did you think about when you were writing this? They won't acknowledge the other songwriters, just because it's kind of like, it's just kind of an understood thing that the better way to answer the question is to just act like you wrote it yourself. But it kind of sucks. Songwriters get shit on in that way a lot of times. Yeah, if you got real hits, you're set, Mr. Possessive. But it is tough. It's not super easy to make money as a songwriter. If you got like a number one hit or like somewhere on the charts, yeah, you're probably straight. But it's tough to get a hit like that, and that's what everybody's competing for because the money you don't get as much money in other places. The main place that songwriting royalties come through is the radio. So like that's why a lot of people in the songwriting industry they're aiming for those radio hits. Oh damn it. Yeah, I mean it's crazy that radio is still it's not just still a thing, but it's still like the major way that people in the music industry get paid, at least like on the songwriting side. Um, yeah, it's still huge. Radio is still a big deal. Um, what genre of songs do I write other than rap? I tried like different stuff in like the pop world, or like even just kinds of rap and hip hop that are a little bit more pop oriented. I'll play some. I was playing some last night. I'll play a couple more. Yeah, Nashville is a huge hub for songwriters. A lot of songwriters that I've met out here in LA go back and forth to Nashville, or they live in Nashville, or they're moving to Nashville. What would be a good one to play? Did you hear the song I played earlier? Don't Dox Me? Maybe you didn't. This is one of my favorite like non-rap songs that I've written.
It's your fault my mind is racing. I think I need a little space again. The synchronicity is begging. I need to find my own pace again.
No, Luntha, you'll have to tell me more about that in a second.
My soul might need a little breaking in. Stay in my role with no exceptions. And you still got me out of breath again. Just breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Just breathe in. And synchronizing with the space within. I'm out of step with my intentions. The metronome is barely kicking in. I gotta rhyme for every sentence, but barely found a way to work them in. You got me thinking about my presence and my effect on every second. I can't deny you leave impressions, cause I still think of you when lights are dim. Remind myself to breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Just breathe in. And synchronizing with the space within. Just breathe in. Remind myself to breathe in again. Just breathe in. And synchronizing with the space
No,
within.
Shua, that's definitely the norm now. Merging of different genres is like the whole name of the game. I'll play one more song. This is a single I have out right now. That's my most recent single. This is called Tongue in Cheek with my friend Angelus.
I think she wanna kill me. This whole time I just thought that we were cool, but the way she tried to do me, I ain't lying, she got something else other than skill. She thought that she could fool me. I ain't lying, for a second I thought she could too. Turn a single to a Lucy, to a soggy cigarette on a cell. Put us all in the pot, man, the time won't stop. Stir us up until it pops, and then take it from the top. It ain't too late to talk this out. Call me when you're on your way to me.
Definitely takes patience.
What a funny idea. You and me.
It's coming pressure.
It was a silly idea.
Interesting.
She say I'm being choosy. She give a certain type of toothache. And when I tell her nothing new this week, she wanna see me in my peak. Before we run out of ideas, make sure you factor in the re-up. It all started with the missed signal.
Ah, damn it, I didn't mean to do that. That's funny, I've never been told I have a voice radio. Actually, I have been told that before.
It all ended with the flop. Put a song in the pot. And the time won't stop. Stir us up until it pops. And then take it from the top. It ain't too late to talk this out. Call me when you're on your way to me.
This song I did not produce and engineer, but a lot of them I produce and engineer. This song I can see on the radio for sure.
What a funny idea. You and me. It was a silly idea. Tongue in cheek.
It's an interesting note. My issue with that song is that it's a lot production wise. That producer, my buddy Angelus, is very maximalist. He loves to just add sounds and he wants it to feel very visceral. And so I'm always having to kind of get him to pare it back a little bit. So I feel like that one came out maybe a little cluttered, but most of the concept that I want to be there is there. Thanks, Shua. Yeah, I agree. More interesting male pop acts. There's a lot of ladies, man. The ladies are killing it right now. Not so much dudes. Code of the Friend. Okay, yeah, I do know him. DIY rapper with his fan base, built a brand recognized sound through his laid back flow. He sells his music directly to the fans. How did he build up with the fan base? Yeah, Mr. Possessive. He definitely he kills it on the maximalist side, but for me, I like stuff that's kind of stripped back, and I want just like the main concepts that I'm trying to get across. I just want those to be really strong. That's usually my focus. So I wouldn't call myself minimalist. I guess I am in some ways, but more so just I'm very concept driven. Like I want the concept to come through. Not even just a lyrical concept, but sometimes a concept is like a certain melody or a certain sound, a combination of sounds that has a unique feel to it. I usually want to boil a song down to like a few core concepts. Most of the male artists I listen to are smaller queer artists. Well, what do you think is lacking of male pop acts in the industry? I thought at the VMAs there were some interesting performances of some stuff. What's that tall skinny guy who performed at the VMAs? Nashville still helps males with fewer talents. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Yeah, I don't see too many girls in the country world, but some. They're starting to come up a little bit. I agree with you. I do like Code of the Friend. Yeah, yeah, and like it can be cool to have a lot of different sounds going on, but me personally, I think it's kind of like that thing that supposedly Einstein said this, but that if you don't really understand something unless you can make it simple. Um, I kind of feel that way about music. It's like you want it to be something very easily communicable and memorable. Who was the band? There was the tall, skinny dude. I'm gonna search tall, skinny guy at the VMAs. It's gonna come up. Watch. Yeah, Somber. Sombr. You remember him? He had like the kind of like slightly old school kind of rock thing. That's a vibe. I'm fucking with that. Imagery and personality. Yeah. Women definitely go crazy with the imagery. Nice. Yeah, that somber shit was good. That felt like something that was like maybe not quite from when I was growing up in this 2000s, but like maybe just a little bit after that. So I think there's still some fucking vibes out there. And then you have the male acts like Benson Boone and shit that come around, and everybody's like, "Who the fuck is this?" So it's like they're out there. The question is, how are they building these fan bases? Through what means?
So at it's
Do you feel like he's like an industry plant though? Because I feel like that's the other side of what you're saying, where it's like there are male acts, but we kind of question them. You know what I mean? We're kind of like, who the fuck is this guy doing backflips? And it's like he's just trying to he's just trying to give us male pop authenticity. Maybe I don't know. I don't know any of his music, so. Media is not really doing anything on the Gen Z protests in multiple places south and spreading. Yeah, I'm with you, Eagle. Jelly Roll. Yeah, Jelly Roll's another good example. I don't know if he's a plant. I don't think he's a plant. Yeah, that is crazy, Eagle. That makes me wish I had brought it up in this pod, but I'm gonna have to. I'll keep that in mind for the next couple days. That's one of the hardest, but also most fun parts of doing this podcast is figuring
in this
out
country.
the less clickbaity topics that I can kind of work in, like at the end or like work in. It is fun to do that because then when I have a video that gets a bunch of views because I'm talking about Theo Vaughn or some shit, but I snuck in some like real shit at the end, that's when I'm like, hell yeah, home run. Our industry plants like legit, like there's debate about whether or not you can force the public to actually care. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't fully believe in the concept of an industry plant. It's kind of true though. Like they can definitely inflate your fan base. It's like you got to go through the steps. They're not just gonna throw you on the stage of the VMAs, but um, no, for the most part, it just means having money behind you. But then there are some people like I remember when Logic got signed. The norm back then was they would sign an artist, but then they would have you agree not to say that you've been signed so they could build up your audience. So basically they put money into you, build up your audience, build up your clout all before announcing that you've been signed, and then they announce it after a couple years or whatever. So I think that's a little bit of like industry plant behavior. Ice Spice was kind of an industry plant. I don't know. The thing about Ice Spice though is that song is a fucking hit. Like the reason Ice Spice blew up is because she had a hit. You can't make a song that's not a hit. A hit is the thing. You can take somebody who maybe doesn't have any hits and put them on stages with people who do, or like put them in the circulation, put them in rooms with people who do have hits, and see where it goes. But when something goes viral and you're able to just ride that to stardom, that's not really an industry plant. That's the industry desperately trying to chase after something that's working. Why did it? Well, I don't think she was that talented. I also think with her, it's more of a matter of taste. Like, yeah, maybe you can do something really like viral and buzzy when you're in the part of your life where you're still like you're on the streets, you're in school, you're around people who use different lingo, so you're kind of tapped in with like what the current like way of speaking is. And so I think a lot of people in rap blow up off that. They just have some kind of idea that resonates with the culture at like a certain age range, and then the musical fundamentals don't really have to be that strong. So I think that's the case with Ice Spice. But then it's like, I don't know, what does she listen to? What type of music does she like? She's dropping music bars about like being Miss Poopy, and like how she's like diaper bars and fart bars. It's like it's just a lack of taste. Yeah. Yeah, it's just bad. I think she has a bad sense of taste and like not I honestly think she's talented. I think she's good as a rapper, but she doesn't have the ability to make like I think she could have progressed a lot as an artist and she didn't really. So yeah, you brought up Nikki a couple times, Mr. Possessive. Would you consider yourself a fan? And I'm not hating if you do. I can understand why you'd be a fan of hers. She was never my favorite really, but um I get it. Yeah, I don't think a lot of her recent material is all that good. That's okay. Don't dox me. By today's standard, I'm old. I'm not even 30 yet, but to Gen Z, I'm cooked. Oh, I didn't see your comment, Chris. Some genres have communities that are more keen to that sort of thing, like music whose subculture communities were attacked, don't like the industry swooping in after they built a grassroots fan base. Yeah, totally. I do. I think hip hop is like that for the most part, not 100%. Yeah, I think so too, Eagle Fell. That's why I do it. It was awesome to see Dochi blow up into the mainstream before she earned that Grammy. Yeah, I agree. Dochi's fucking cool. I have I have a friend who's worked with her a little bit, and she's very about the business. He said that she is very nice and very friendly and cool and normal, but then when it's like time to like rehearse or like when shit gets going, she like is in business mode. She's telling people what to do. She's ordering the room around. She's no nonsense. So she's dead serious. That's one thing about Dochi. She is not playing at all. She is dead ass serious. Stone Paxton, no, I don't know him. Yeah, you're right. Don't dox me. That's the one of the worst things in the industry is people's ownership of their shit getting revoked or getting cheated out of that. It also leaves a bad taste in my mouth when artists hate on their old work. Part of the bigger picture is a turn off. Dochi performed at Out Loud Fest. Yeah, I agree with you. That's something that bothers me about Doja a little bit. I don't know why Doja did the whole thing where she like hated on the pop music. Just to she made an album that was like a little bit more rap focused, still poppy, and then she just goes right back to doing pop music, and I'm like, why did you say that? She insulted her fans. She kind of insulted herself, and I just don't get why she did that. Or time to be a kitten. Is that what the Doja fans are called? As kittens? Luntha, we're not much. We're still talking music. We're talking about different people like Doechii and Nicki Minaj and sort of the state of rap in general a little bit. No, I don't really play video games. Yeah, yeah, she did put you guys through it. Why did she do that? And was there any sense of like, fuck her? Like, did any part of you feel that way? Because Amira, I talked to Amira about it, and she basically just feels like I don't know what she was talking about. Amira's like that's cat. You know what I mean? Like she was just saying whatever, which I kind of buy that, but I just feel like it's a direct insult to fans like her, you know what I mean? Like fans of that music. To be like, oh, I was just giving you guys this cash grab shit because I knew you would go for it. And it's like, I don't know. Do I plan on learning music theory? No, I pick up little parts of it here and there. It's definitely something that like I want to learn more about, but not really a priority. I'm more focused on building the type of like um, infrastructure around myself so that I can just keep releasing stuff and building an audience, doing the stuff with the podcast to make sure that what I'm doing is very like tied in with shit that's going on and current and useful. Um, so like yeah, I want to learn music theory, but it's not really a priority for me. But it does hold me back that I don't know it better. Edgeline Queen, she is an Edgeline Queen. Struggling to feel seen as a rapper. Yeah, so you think she was saying that to kind of separate herself from the image as a pop star and wanted to be viewed more as a rapper? I guess that is kind of like what a rapper would say. Haha, I was just doing that to trick you. I just made dumb pop music because I wanted your money. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, Post Malone turned out to be one of the biggest fucking grifters in hip hop. R&B, interaction live. This follows on folks is streaming live. He loves music. First thing I learned, it's a headache. Way too much in it. Just learn the basics. You'll be fine. Yeah, definitely. Like, as I go about learning more and like doing more just like songwriting stuff, it definitely helps to know more theory. Um, so yeah, it's something I want to brush up on. It would definitely make it a lot easier for me to fill in the gaps sometimes with like things that are. It would be nice to be able to just like play my own bass line on something easily or add some chords to something without having to use like a crutch for it. I remember on the Breakfast Club, somebody said about Post Malone, they were like, watch, because this was when he first blew up after White Iverson, and they had him on the Breakfast Club, and somebody was like, watch, Bad and Bougie was on the radio, so they're looking for somebody white who can make the same type of music, and so just give it a couple years, he'll be the biggest thing in rap. And he was. That motherfucker was right. And then he also transitioned to country. So it really was. I don't think that Post Malone was like entirely cynical in doing that. I think that he was genuinely doing what he wanted to do. But he definitely didn't stop himself. And I think he has even said that he always wanted, he more so wanted to be like a country, like a singer, more so than a rapper. I think it's viewed as easier to be a rapper than to be like another kind of musician. Queen of parasocial relationships, blur the lines. Country the trend. I don't know. Probably because people's roots with that, because White Boys in America's roots with country goes deeper than most even realize. Even with me, I don't really like country music at all. But sometimes when I'm singing, I have a little bit of that twang in my voice. And so I think it comes naturally at a certain point. And like when you develop the vocals in the way that Post Malone did, but then you start trying to sing other songs, he probably found himself like naturally gravitating towards that country sound. But also I agree, I don't like it. A lot of the people that I know that work in songwriting, work in the industry, are trying to be songwriters, a lot of them are gravitating towards country right now because that's like the thing, and I'm not really into that. Yeah, it's in the country thing is in the white boy genes, unfortunately. Tate didn't collab with Morgan Wallen. Yeah. Yeah, they try to say hip hop isn't the thing anymore, but I don't think that's true. I think hip hop will always dominate in some sense, but it's definitely pop. Pop and country are like really having a moment right now. Country songs are low key easier to write. Also, the songwriting scene in Nashville works a little bit differently. It's more like a 9 to 5 job, and songwriters are treated better. So it's attractive for a lot of people in the songwriting world. Because, like LA, you come to LA, it's hard to survive in LA. You get some of the glitz and the glamour, but then it's also like kind of brutal. And it can be tough to keep on. And Nashville starts to look a little bit more attractive because you're like, what? It's like being a songwriter is like an actual job there. It's not like a side hustle that I'm begging people to pay me for. Um, and plus it's like a little cheaper and it's like a slightly smaller town that still has a huge music scene. So I think that people that do have some affinity for country or at least don't hate it are inclined towards that. Um, but it also, like, I think a lot of people do hate it and go in that direction anyway, which I find unfortunate. Yeah, I agree. Old country is fucking amazing. Yeah, it's post 9/11. After 9/11, country became very pro America, um, pro authority, and that's the shit I can't get down with. Commercialized Fifth Street too much in Nashville. You're not from Nashville, are you? Don't dogs me. Every dance pop song has a sick rap feature. What's an example of that, Mr. Possessive? Yeah, country music does have deep right wing reactionary movements. Yeah, you're totally right, Chris. That theory definitely would help me in the simplification process. It's probably the main place that I could benefit from it. Cheesehead. Drinking and driving trucks. Tonight by Enrique and Ludacris. Pretty much every 10 cents, 20 cent song. Just Dance had a rap feature too. Justice for Colby Adonis. Make music from the heart when you feel like you've hit a roadblock and how to experiment, learn theory and history. Yeah, I definitely try to pick up pieces of it as I go. Um, but yeah, definitely that like hip hop ethic of like just taking samples and just kind of like it's almost like a viewfinder. It's like you lay things over top of each other and then you adjust it slightly until it like hits that perfect pocket. But it can be hard to have the flexibility that I'm looking for sometimes. Yeah, Shua, that's kind of what I experience is that like I've picked up on a decent amount of theory, not to where I could explain it, but like functionally I can practice it a little bit through just working in DAWs and like just through the particular techniques that I use. I've learned like my workarounds and stuff. And then in the gangsta's paradise. Mr. Possessive, it probably has to do with the history of it. And the thing about um, sampling and like when it comes to the songwriting world is it gets into like publishing and royalties and intellectual property. And so nowadays on a mainstream level, most sampling is like cleared and everything's fine. And if you do it that way, there's really not too many problems once you get it cleared. But I think the practice of taking people's samples and not crediting them and sort of turning it into your own thing and profiting off of it, which is something that's happened often in hip hop, is like, I think there's a reason that's frowned upon. But I think the context of hip hop is just different. It's like a very particular thing that, like, when you learn the history of why people started sampling and why they do it and how it has contributed to the culture, you just start to gain an understanding and an appreciation for like transforming somebody else's work and like how you can rejuvenate people's interest in a song by sampling. Um, the rapper's delay. Oh, okay. Did you get rid of that comment? Oh no, Gangsta's Paradise. Yeah, sampling. I'm passionate about sampling. I love sampling. I'll never stop doing it. But I can understand why some people have issues with it. Now, learning more about how the music industry works, I can see that it's a tougher pill to swallow for some people. Most sample producers are becoming lazy. They often don't do anything to the sample. Yeah, it depends. I can be kind of traditional in my sampling aspect too. Sometimes I think like you don't need much more than a loop, but that's because I think of it in terms of I'm just more focused on the rapping part. Like I just want something to rap over, and I want it to sound good, obviously, but I'm less worried about like the integrity of the like production process, and I'm more interested in like is this a good platform for me to rap over. I don't know who Ava Max is. Probably gonna hop off in a second here, guys. I'm tired, man. I'll give it another 5 minutes or so. Yeah, Chris, in my experience, a lot of people, uh, I won't say a lot of people, yeah, I'll say a lot of people that I worked with that are more focused on music theory are not as good of producers because they're not focused on the ideas and they're focused more on like the math of it. Um, oh shit, I'm supposed to know Ava. Don't tell him you're, what's her name? Ava Max. Maybe I've heard something before. Um, yeah. I think a lot of people that are more focused on the technicalities, the product isn't as good because their ideas aren't as interesting. Sampling masterpiece also got the record labels on there as for sampling royalties. Yeah. Nowadays, I think the process of getting samples cleared is starting to become a little bit more streamlined. Could be better still. And I also think there's just so much shit coming out all the time that it's hard to keep track of any of it. It seems less controversial to me now. I hear samples all the time in pop music, in different genres that aren't hip hop. So I feel like it's pretty standard, but I know there are definitely still people that struggle with it or that don't like it. Simplify my beats, yeah. So Lunta, where can I find your beats? I went to your channel, but there aren't any on there. Is it a different channel? Interesting. Has Nikki gotten in trouble? Maybe that's why a lot of her music hasn't like broken through so much over the years. I know her songs are still popular, but if she's had sample troubles, that could have slowed down the momentum of some of her songs over the years because of the sample libraries. Well, not all samples come from sample libraries, but a lot of the stuff that I use is, which does help. Ugh. Sample is like taking a piece of a song. So, like, if I have a record from anybody, any other artist, and I take a little piece of it and I turn it into a loop and make it into a beat, that's a sample. A lot of most early hip hop songs were done by sampling. Elvin Elkin. I don't see it. Yeah, Biggie. Any way for people without a credit card? I don't know. Do you have like Cash App? I could put my Cash App in the chat. What would you normally use? So are you Elvin Beats? Lunta? Elvin Vanquish? Yeah, Eagle, the only thing I could think of would be like Cash App or some app like that. Um, I don't know if there would be any other way. Follows the golden ration. Yeah, that's like math rock, isn't it? Would that be like math metal? Yeah, you could just send an envelope of cash in the mail. That'd be cool. First 5 seconds of Walk This Way, popular loop sample. Yeah, totally. I think I searched Elvin Elcom and it didn't come up. Oh, I think I see now. Oh, okay. Sweet Nightmare, is this you? This is you?
be alright, kid.
I love the bass. How long did you say you've been doing this for, Olyntha? Three or 4 years.
Elvin.
Is this still you? This is still you, right? Yeah. $500 million. What's up, Eris? I like these, Elvin. I like these a lot. I'm calling you Elvin now, just because I found your channel. Now I'm acting brand new. Yeah, I fuck with these. We should do something. I like the way you mix bass and keys together. Like your bass lines sound really good. Yeah, you're solid with the bass lines. I like these chords too. Hell yeah, definitely let me know if you cook up some drill beats that you think I would sound good on. Yeah, definitely toss them my way. Let's try to do something. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna fucking hop off here. I do still got this pod coming out this morning. It's gonna be out probably looking like 8 a.m. or 8:30. So probably in the next half an hour to an hour. I'll have that up. Go listen to that. Go listen to the new song, Pressure, on my channel. Most of the stuff is on the hard drive. Hell yeah, I got hard drives on hard drives too. Yeah, go check the new song, Pressure. Go run that shit up. Go hype it. I'm trying to run the views up on that bitch. Of course, Luntha, we're trying to fucking rising tide lifts all ships. I appreciate the support, of course. Always fun chatting with you guys. Yep. Podcast will be out soon. Check for that. And yeah, I'll probably be back on here in the next couple days or so. Have a good one, guys. Get some sleep if you haven't slept yet, or have a good day if you slept already. Bye.